Let's start, though, with the Dallas Cowboys, shall we? As the contract negotiations continue in the media. Yesterday, Ed Werder, who, of course, has covered the Cowboys for years, tweeted this out. Sources, the most recent offer negotiations between holdout Ezekiel Elliott and the Cowboys came from the team. Elliott has been offered a contract making him one of the NFL's 2 highest paid running backs. That would suggest the team offering more than Le'Veon Bell and less than Todd Gurley. Now, obviously, this comes from the team, right? Ed has covered the Cowboys for a long, long time, and the team putting out the details, and the devil is the details in terms of what is the real money. But I listened to the commentary, and I'm struck by this, Joy. I think at some point Jerry Jones has been pushed to the limit, and he's at the point now where he feels like Ezekiel Elliott is ungrateful. And I'll explain why in a moment. Here was Jerry Jones. Remember there was that subtle joke last Saturday? They got a rookie running back, Tony Pollard. He had 5 carries, 42 yards, playing against really the third stringers from the LA Rams. Had a really good day. And so, the reporters were joking, hey, what a great negotiating tool you have with Zeke. Now you got this Tony Pollard kid. And so Jerry Jones, joked, Zeke who? And then he circled back to talking about how great Zeke was. And so after it came out, Zeke's camp, again, through the media, and his agent said that not only was his agent, but also Ezekiel Elliott felt disrespected, felt dissed, right, by Jerry Jones for saying that. Take a listen to Jerry Jones earlier this week justifying his subtle jab at Zeke. Let me be real clear about that. I have earned that right. Now, could he be discussing the fact that they're willing to give Ezekiel Elliott a contract extension even though he has no-showed, even though he's played this out through the media, even though he's under contract for 2 more years, and potentially 2 more after that, actually as a franchise taggy? Like, they're negotiating against themselves if they change the details of this deal. Sure. But I think what's really at play here is, one, Jerry Jones has always had the back of his players, even when his players have been led astray off the football field. Michael Irvin, Pac-Man Jones. I mean, you just kind of go through, even the disasters of the Greg Hardy signing, right? He has believed in players. Is it for the benefit of his franchise? Sure. There's a little, selfishly, I think he obviously benefits from standing by guys that are super talented, that can't always get their life in order. But I think that Jerry is seen as a guy who takes care of Quincy Carter, former Cowboy quarterback, right? How much did he stand by him? You go back, since Jerry Jones has taken over this franchise, a historic name, but it was a dilapidated franchise, the money he's invested, the time he's invested, and the emotional energy he's invested. And then you look at Ezekiel Elliott. Like, let's not forget, Jerry Jones organized a coup d'etat on Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the National Football League. Now, the coup was struck down, but he went right at the head of Jerry Jones, tried to have him removed. And it wasn't just to defend Ezekiel Elliott. Look, we're in 2019. The last 3 or 4 years, America has finally gotten a backbone against domestic violence. We've finally stood up and said, hey, let's support the women. Let's punish the men. And even during that time, however frivolous some may have believed the claims against Ezekiel Elliott were, this was over a 6-game suspension that Jerry Jones went to the mattresses. Went to the mattresses, Godfather. Here go the mattresses, right? Went to the mattresses to try and get Roger Goodell removed. Now, it didn't work, and Goodell got a contract extension, and the Cowboys season went down the tubes because they didn't have Zeke. But on the football field, he's built a team around the talents of Zeke. He spent a ton of money on that offensive line. He's tried to get all the right pieces in place to get the best out of Ezekiel Elliott. Now, they've built a tremendous defense. They've done a great job in player acquisition, player development. That's a young athletic defense. Case in point, the chance they took on Jalen Smith and how it's been rewarded, and then they rewarded Jalen Smith. And you get to the point where you look, I've done a lot of stuff for this kid, right? I drafted him high. I believed in him. We built the offense around him. I made sure the offensive coordinators knew he needed to have the ball. When he stepped astray outside the football field, I protected him. I battled for him. I've always been there for him. Not only is he asking for top dollar, which will take money from the pie. Remember, he also said there's less pie to go around now when they signed Jalen Smith. Not only but every other guy who's under contract for 2 years is going to come into my door asking for a new contract. And here's a guy whose back I had on and off the football field, and he has there's a Yiddish term, chutzpah. It means nerve or a lower intestinal fortitude. He has the chutzpah through his agent to say he felt disrespected because I joked Zeke who, even though he has a standing offer to be the second highest paid running back in the history of the National Football League. I think Jerry Jones feels like Ezekiel Elliott is ungrateful. Right? Feels like he's ungrateful. And sure, there's a little bit of unhealthy, I'm the father, you're the son kind of relationship between Jerry and players. I'm okay if you point that out. But as a father with a son and with daughters, I can tell you all you can ever ask of your kids is to be grateful. Right? Because the greatest thing you can give to anyone in the world is an opportunity. Right? I talk about this when I go and do public speaking, Joe. I said I do this whole thing about how I made it when I was at the other place, because when there were snowstorms, when there were nor'easters, I would go knock on the doors of producers like, hey, Jay Billis can't get in here tonight. I can do Sports Center. All I wanted was an opportunity. You don't have to pay me. I'll just do it. Stick me on, give me a mic, red light, I go, tell me when to wrap, and I'm good. I filled in for Colin there, filled in for Colin in Sports Station. Just give me opportunities. It's the greatest thing. We think and pray for all these other things, but if you get an opportunity and prepare yourself for it, and you kick butt, you're going to get more opportunities. Jerry Jones is sitting there going like, hey, man, I gave you all these opportunities. I protected you. I battled for you. When you messed up, I was there for you. I supported you in the face of the strongest headwind. Right? The movement against domestic violators has been probably the strongest headwind we've ever seen against current professional athletes. And by the way, rightfully so. He stood up and stood by the guy. And now you're going to get mad because he told a little joke that was funny and everyone knew it was sarcastic. No one thought it was really in the heart offensive. While you have a standing offer to be the second highest paid player at your position in the history of the sport, stop it. Stop it. Now you're acting spoiled, ungrateful. And now I'm at my limit. Now, look, Ezekiel Elliott does have some support from some current and former players. Here's Marcellus Wiley on Speak for Yourself, going back to yesterday.
It's impossible if I'm Ezekiel Elliott to sign this deal. One, immediately I see this deal as less than someone who already got paid. And guess what's going to happen as soon as I sign on the dotted line? I'm going to get leapfrogged, and we'll be right back in this situation. So now I'm going to be sitting there at top 5 before I blink. And then we'll be right back here, Jerry. Your ego needs the headline of, I did this. I'm the highest paid running back, even if it's for 5 seconds, just because I am the best running back. I need that to be sold to me.
Yeah, the problem is that's not the reality of the market. The running back market's going through a market correction. Todd Gurley signed that deal a year ago. Le'Veon Bell signed one this year. It's for less money. And the reality is Todd Gurley's deal is a bad deal, and Le'Veon Bell's deal is so bad the GM who signed it got fired shortly thereafterwards. Like, I understand. Like, there's not going to be bigger paydays. Saquon Barkley might be the best back in the league, but he's not going to get more money. That's not the reality of the position, the reality of the sport, unless they change the rules. So I get the old school, I need to be the highest paid, but the reality of the sport, the correction of the market, and, oh, yeah, by the way, you're under contract for 2 more years. I guarantee had he played at his current contract for a year or at least showed up in camp, he would have had a stronger case. But he needs to get paid, but not as much as Dak, not as much as Amari Cooper, Byron Jones, and there will be others. And if you want to truly win games, sometimes you got to take a little bit less.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.